Overflows.
Relationship, a complex phenomenon. Relationship is a complex phenomenon. We have to go to the very core of it in order to understand it. Everybody feels that others are responsible for his or her misery and miserable state. The husband thinks the wife is responsible for his misery. The wife thinks husband is responsible for her misery. The children think the parents are responsible for their misery. And parents think the children are responsible for their misery. It has become a vicious circle, a complexity. And whenever somebody else is responsible for your misery, you are not aware that by giving responsibility, you are losing your freedom as well. Responsibility and freedom are two sides of the same coin. Remember, as human beings, we are intimate creatures. We seek out others as lovers and friends and need closeness and bonding. Of course, we also need space and aloneness. We can have needs. In that case, it is okay to be dependent, as long as it is within limits. It is a matter of personal preference. Some people like to walk the path together while others alone. Some prefer to be alone when the responsibility has ended. They feel in aloneness life will be fulfilled. Such a moment comes in every relationship. It is part of life. Sooner or later, the romance starts disappearing, and no romance can ever be long lasting. It is very exciting when it is there, but when it is gone, one feels completely closed because the opening was not yours. It was because of the romantic kicks and thrills that always comes with a relationship. When a relationship starts, whenever you begin a relationship, you are full of hopes and aspirations. All those hopes are false, but that does not matter at all at that time. All those dreams are going to be shattered, but who bothers? Those dreams are beautiful and golden. And when one is in dream, one does not want to be awakened because one thinks that one is being taken out of one's beautiful world. But sooner or later, the dream has to end. It cannot continue forever. No dream continues forever. That is why we call it a dream. In India, truth is defined as that which continues forever and ever. The eternity of it is its essence. That which begins and ends is Maya or illusion or a dream. Nanak in his message of Japji says, truth is that which is true in the beginning of the creation. It is true now, and it will also be true when the entire creation dissolves. In the beginning, each relationship is beautiful and poetic. Then, by and by, the poetry is lost because you become acquainted with the other person and he becomes acquainted with you. So the novelty is gone, the sensation is no more there, there is nothing to explore, the exploration is over. Then you start traveling on the same track again and again, and that creates boredom. It becomes a sort of transcendental meditation. You repeat the same mantra again and again, but nothing holds you awake. So you start falling asleep There is nothing to see, so why open your eyes? There is nothing to experience anymore, so why be open? The thrill is gone, the honeymoon is over, but only then something of the meaning is possible. So, two possibilities open when a relationship dies or cools down. One possibility is that you change the partner. Then again, you can live in a dream for a few days, but the problem will arise again. So the possibility is just postponing the problem, forcing it a little further ahead. It is not going to be solved that way. And that is what is going on in the West. Choose the thrill part, the first beginning, only the honeymoon, but it becomes like a drifting. Many people will come into your life and you will drift and dream. And by you see that those dreams have taken up your whole life and nothing has happened. One day, one feels tremendously frustrated, but that is the easiest approach. In the East, we think in another way. We think that when a relationship cools down, that is the moment for a real relationship to start. But then the relationship will be prosaic, not of poetry. It will be of the earth, not of the sky. One needs to have courage to go through this process. As the first phase has gone, the second will also go. Remember, because whatsoever happens here is just a passing phase. If I had told you in the beginning that this dream will end, you would not have listened to me. You would say, how? No lover listens. And the person who says that looks like an enemy, a fool. But now I tell you, it has gone. The second stage will also go if you persist in relationship. Nothing remains stationary. A relationship is a continuously moving, a dynamic process. If two lovers are not allowed to meet, the first phase will never end. So the most fortunate lovers are those who are not allowed in some way or the other to meet. Their first phase continues because there is nothing to shatter their dream life, so they can go on fantasizing. Once you meet with the person, you have to walk on the earth. One day or the other, you will have to come back to the earth. Dreams cannot nourish you forever. You need the real nourishment. The second phase also passes, but it is very difficult to pass through it. It is very easy to pass through the first because nothing is a demand. It is not a challenge. In fact, you would like to cling to it. Now the second phase will give you a great challenge. It will repel you. It will force you in every way to drop out of the relationship, to change the partner, and to again fall into a dream. That is what the whole trick of the mind is. But I would like you to stick to the relationship, to gain momentum, to evolve and grow. Remember, the real test of a person's characteristic quality is during the period of crisis. Always remember that pain awakens you while pleasure puts you to sleep. Suffering helps more than all the happiness put together. I cherish pain more than pleasure. A single moment of suffering is far more valuable than whole life of pleasure, comfort and convenience. Why is it so? Because you want to cling to pleasure. With suffering, you are thrown off. You would like to run away from the whole thing, to escape somewhere. But if you stick, a certain integration will happen to you. In that very sticking to it, standing there and not escaping or running away, but facing it, you will become strong. For the first time, the soul will arise in you. You will feel that something has settled. You are no more just parts. All parts have fallen into place and they make a pattern. Gurdjieff used to call this phase the great birth of the ego. Before it, you have many egos, many singles. Whenever a person is ready to face a suffering, eyes, but not I, which always comes after a dream is shattered. Then that suffering is tremendously valuable, but you cannot see it. You cannot see it right now. If you pass through it, if you accept it as a part, you lived in the dream. Now who is going to live when the dream is broken? You have to live that too. You lived in the palace, you lived in the palace, now you have to live in the ruins, because every palace sooner or later is going to become a ruin, and sooner it does, the better, because then the challenge arises. So it is a great challenge for you. Therefore, pass through it, accept this too. Sometimes the terrain is very rough, and sometimes climbing a mountain is very dangerous. Sometimes there are sad moments and of unhappiness and sheer boredom, but all that is part of life, and one has to live it through all these dimensions. So the easier way is to get out of the relationship. Soon you will start dreaming about somebody else, and thus will continue the saga of failures. Enough for now.